is like I'm changing a lot of things. So I guess I just need to trust it.
You have to be so comfortable and so confident in yourself. You know that no matter what you do, don't be comfortable with what you're doing, but be confident in who you are.
Welcome back to Real Talk with Tim Hofacker. On today's episode, we're getting right into it. He is currently a rising sophomore, just finished his freshman year here at the University of Central Florida, UCF. Heavy into business, part of multiple business clubs, but also the mental side and dealing with relationships and dealing with people. I'm very excited for this one. So if you guys are new, be sure to subscribe, turn on the post notifications. If you guys took any value from this, be sure to leave a rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Be sure to take care of all of that right now. But today on Real Talk, we have Mr. Alex Shnider with us. How are we feeling today, Alex?
I'm doing good. Glad to be here. I think this is my first partake on Tim's adventures and YouTube channel, so I'm very excited to be here.
Or what about, have you ever spoken on a podcast?
I've never been on a podcast. I listen to podcasts. I love podcasts, but never been on one. So very glad to be here, and I'm ready to answer the questions. You talked about relationships, so I'm not sure how we're going to go into that one, but we got to do what we got to do.
This is the exact reason why. So you agree with me right now. Truthfully, honestly, real talk, vulnerable, all the above. You can't sugarcoat anything here.
All real talk. It's a podcast, so we got to hold true.
So, give a background on where you come from, who you are, and the position you're at right now sitting in this chair.
Yeah, well, currently at Tim Hofacker's house, which is beautiful. But I'm from Wellington, Florida, which is a smaller town in West Palm Beach, and grew up there my whole life, played soccer, kind of regular old life, and it was good. And now I'm currently a sophomore at University of Central Florida. I love it. I'm very, very happy I met Tim. It's been great, getting to know him and seeing his journey on YouTube.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm ready to be a part of it.
Stop gassing me. No, this is you.
I do gotta stop gassing him up, but it is cool to be a part of it.
What are you studying in school?
I'm a finance major. He was talking a little bit about clubs. I'm in a business fraternity. It's Delta Sigma Pi for everyone that's watching from there. What's up? I love it. It's a great fraternity, and it's really changed my life for the better. And yeah, it couldn't complain.
How many members are in that thing?
There's about 75, and in my pledge class there was about 20. So I pledged last semester. It's not exactly like your regular, movie fraternity.
It's not a normal frat.
Yeah, so it's more of a professional fraternity. We have this thing where, when you first join, there's workshops and just professional development, whether it's elevator pitches or LinkedIn. And it was a couple-week program where I really went from not knowing much about business and what I was going to do with my life to kind of getting on that path of like, holy crap, like I can actually do this. And it was a pretty cool transformation. I kind of needed it during freshman year. Freshman year is a journey for all of us. And Delta Sigma Pi, or DSP, was definitely a turning point in that year.
You're evolving and learning as always, as Mr. Shnider does. What are you trying to get at with that? Your approach about, wanting to do that, and like why you chose, dealing with finance.
So during COVID, I was waking up at 7 a.m. for school, or whatever time we were waking up. And I was obviously in bed, not sitting up for school. This was during Zoom. So I was in my bed. Yeah, COVID school. So everything was online, and I was in bed, of course, not sitting up and not paying attention. My dad gave me like $50 to throw into the stock market. It was kind of crazy during that time. This was, around March.
AMC.
Correct. So it was a little bit before AMC, and I threw $50 in, and I was able to kind of lose money and gain money and learn about what makes, I got to learn so many lessons instead of the school lessons. I was learning lessons about stocks. So I'd wake up, I'd watch a video on stocks. The stock market opens at 8 a.m. So I was able to be up for that, which usually, I'd be sleeping. Right. But school kind of got me in that groove of checking the stock market every morning, staying in tune with the news and just getting interested in this whole field of finance. My journey of stocks, I started putting a little bit more money in there, and then I discovered cryptocurrency. And this was the first time where I felt passionate about something. And a lot of people don't like cryptocurrency.
Well, obviously what it is now is insane. Around the surface of like people knowing.
My first crypto buy was like December of 2020 or January of 2021. It's after the 2017 bull run where Bitcoin went to like $17,000. So it's after that. Of course I've heard about Bitcoin, but I wasn't old enough to really grasp it. And so I got in before it exploded. I got in before its all-time high is $69,000. I think I got in at around $30,000. Something about stocks that I learned about is you got to do your research. You got to know what's involved, who's involved, what the future looks like. Crypto in general was different than any of the other stocks that I was kind of interested in. I liked stocks, but I could never really wrap my head around some of the businesses. Bitcoin was the first thing that I could really see a future for and kind of be excited for. Right. And so that was kind of the start of my whole finance interest.
What has been the biggest lesson that you learned from like early on getting into the stock market instead of tuning into your 7 a.m. classes?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I've learned a lot of lessons. I say whenever I lose money, if I lose $100, $50, whatever, I say, okay, that was a $50 lesson, $100 lesson. But the best lesson I would say that I've learned a bunch, but if I were to pick one, it'd probably just be to research. And I can't stress that enough. That's kind of the standard of stocks. I'm not on here saying that I'm a stock expert.
It's with anything too.
Correct, yeah. You got to put your time in.
And you got to funnel down what information is right and what information is wrong.
Correct. There's a lot of sources. There's a lot of things that people want to put out there for their gain or for other people's gains, but it's about finding that real information. But the cool thing about stocks that I kind of was able to do is there's, at least for right now, I'm not in any like stock classes or Bitcoin classes. So I was able to take my time and like dedicate a portion of my time in the day to saying, okay, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to research this, I'm going to figure out why this works, how this works. And I was able to, I used it in times where I work on productivity. So if in my personal life there's a rough spot or I'm kind of confused with what I'm doing, work, I put the stuff down, I put my phone down and I watch videos and I do research and I lose money and I gain money and it's kind of a cool thing that I can do with myself that I'm able to distract myself in a productive way.
Well, you distract yourself from the distractions.
Of course, yeah.
So I think the way you're trying to explain that is the experience of like, totally shutting down everything else and just dedicating like quality time into understanding stuff. But, stocks is up and down, you lose money, win money. But it's like you could take that experience and you could put it into anything else, whether it's like you're having up and downs with working out or you're having up and downs with friendships and dealing with family life. Totally. Like you could take that adversity and say, okay, what if I bring this spectrum into this and see how this works.
Exactly.
With those people.
Exactly. And kind of to put on you, it seems like that's what you do. Every day on my Instagram and YouTube, I see you posting videos and updating things. And it's cool to see from an outsider perspective because, I'm not involved with your YouTube as much, but it's cool to see from a friend and from a subscriber to watch your journey of I'm gonna grind, and
I appreciate that.
And the cool thing that for me is nobody sees my grind, whether it's the gym or stocks or anything that I'm doing, which I love. But someone for you like you, it's really cool to see that you grind because not everybody does.
Right.
It's kind of a mutual respect that I think we have that I really enjoy.
It's different because your source of, grinding, you can't really showcase it. I showcase it through, actions in my videos. or like consistently posting on videos. That's not even just with the taking the time and like putting in the hours of like understanding how to make money and how to understand why businesses put money into certain things and how, you know, this whole thing works. I don't know what do you mean by like with me when I grind, like how it's different?
No, it's not different, but I think it comes down to personality types, and which is dope. You know, I think it's awesome that you're out here wanting to show the people that this is you, this is how you work.
Okay.
I've always taken the approach of like, I'm going to do my work, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and I'll see you in 10 years. You know?
Right.
Which of course is that's also how I look at stocks. You know, like I do my research, I do my work, I do my grind. With the stocks that I love, I'll see you in 10 years. You know, like I don't care how you're doing now.
Yep.
But like, it's just awesome because there's the YouTubers that you look at like Mr. Beast and you know, a couple other YouTubers, but that they grinded in the beginning and they put out this work and they have 100 to 200 videos of like nobody watching.
Yep.
And you see that subtle rise up. And I mean, that's kind of a question I have for you is, who inspires you?
Are you turning into the podcast host now?
I
Early on? Okay, let's do it.
I figured it was rolling into it. I want to see what makes you going, like what gets you going, and why you do this.
I think it's different when you throw your life out to people that you don't know. Sometimes people don't care about you. It's hard to funnel down and appreciate like the people that do actually care for you and watch you. But the inspiration side isn't really from other people. It's really from within, because I know like where my rock bottom has been, and it's, you know, I know what that is and the severity of that like moment. And I know, okay, I can come back from that. I can do anything. There's nothing in willpower that will stop me. And it's cool because it's all documented. It's all documented stuff. So for anybody, like everybody's come up story is very unique because, and everybody's story. And I always say this, like for people that I interview and people that I do podcasts with, like everybody has a voice. Everybody brings value, and everybody has a very interesting life. It's just if people want to showcase it. And I think it's why I continue to do it is I think my voice is unique and like my story is unique. And I feel like people need to be heard and people need to see it. And then it's just on like natural motivation. And I'm not really like trying too hard to like reel people in. It's just, if you mess with me, you mess with me. Come join on the boat, or else it's sailing pretty soon.
It is sailing pretty soon. And it is sailing pretty soon. I like that. I respect that. I think it's a incredible way to live life. Yeah. And I think the rock bottom part is cool because I mean, I wasn't talking rock bottom, but in the general idea of if something hits you, hit it back harder, you know? Come back, let's do it. Grind and
I'm all for it, yeah.
And work. Yeah. I love it.
Let me ask this. Let me flip the question back onto you. What has kept you going? A cool one is money. Money's a cool motivator.
Money's always nice. I think I started to realize that answer over the past year or so. Kind of figured out like my purpose and who I want to be. I don't know what I want to do with my life, but what I figured out is that whatever I am going to do, I'm going to do it to the best that I can do. And I know that I can. You know, it's hard to describe, but it's kind of the eye of the tiger. And I've kind of had that while playing sports and growing up in my life. But for the first time ever, it's kind of transitioned to a future aspect where we're not looking at instantaneous rewards. We're looking at future rewards and the long haul. And for the first time, I have that eye of the tiger of what does it look like in 10 years? So on a day-to-day basis, of course, I can't plan for 10 years on today, but every single thing that I do is how can I be better? How can I be better for the future? And how can I be the best?
The body that you have now, like looks wise and like definition wise, that you have now is a reflection of the work that you put in 2 weeks ago. So it's the same thing that applies. The thoughts and the actions years from now are a reflection of what you're doing right now. So
Totally. I love that. And that obviously, kind of applies to the gym. And but more than just that, more than just the gym, what I do today is not exactly going to help me today. It might be annoying or tiring, but it's it shows its results in a little bit, and not everybody has that perspective and patience also.
And is what I'm saying other people's thoughts and like other people's influence. So I think nowadays, it's the hardest for people to accumulate like their own like desires, like not wants, but like desires. Like I understand that I don't have the life right now. Want is understanding of like lack of, like I obviously don't have that, but desire is I know I can get there. And I always preach this is the habits. It's the habits that you instill.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. What are some of the things that what habits do you like to hold yourself accountable?
I'm very into habits. I'm actually reading the book Atomic Habits, which I love.
I'm 75% in.
I think I have like an hour left.
Oh, me too.
So
Me
like
too.
chapter 14, like
yeah, chapter 18.
Okay, so you are ahead of me.
Okay.
Wow, that's incredible.
Atomic Habits.
So that is one of my habits. In the shower, I'll put my phone up and I'll listen to Audible. Doing nothing, like wasting my time, or I can have 10 to 15 minutes of productivity, and it's time that you're not really going to get back unless you get to read a book. You can't flip through the paper pages.
No, well, I'm saying not in the shower, but like, can you physically like open up a good book and have the patience?
Oh, no, I have absolutely no
Yep, neither could I.
If I read a book, I'm 3 sentences in and I'm on my phone.
Yes.
I'm also one of the slowest readers you may find in the entire world.
Right.
So if somebody's showing me something on their phone, I'm like, give me a second. Like it's give me a second. Like I need like it's like a caution label whenever you're showing me something. It's really bad. So I wouldn't even try to read. But as far like I listen to podcasts and audiobooks, and that just works for me.
Audiobooks is the same thing as a podcast.
Oh, it is 100%. It's just scripted.
What has that done for you, or what has that like made you realize?
I meditate every morning, which I know you talked about in your last podcast, which I was very excited to hear.
Here we go, 20-minute segment about meditation, but continue.
I work out. I've worked out for a year and a half, so that's the habit. It's not even the gym. Has nothing to do with cool. I'm stronger now. It's all mental. So I'm in the gym 21 days in a row because I had a bad day that day, and I want to have an hour and a half or 2 hours of don't talk to me, don't look at me, I'm doing my thing.
Right.
And it's just the best mental therapy ever.
Yeah.
Occasionally write in my notes. Sure. It's more of if I'm feeling a certain way, I'll write something down.
Right. Not type.
No, so I actually type. I do it in notes. You disagree with that?
I think you get a better burn, and like it resonates better. Like you get a better feeling when you actually like pen sharp to the paper.
Okay. I mean, listen, I love advice like that. Yeah.
And even this, like I've said on numerous episodes of Real Talk, it's like this is a form of meditation, and like flowing, getting it, whatever's all the jumble that's in your head, and speaking it to another person, conversating, it always brings value.
It's all about the brain. Every habit that I do, it's all how can I train my brain to be stronger and to get through a shitty part of my day and keep going.
Amen to that, brother.
Amen.
Let's go into it. So meditation. So run me through your process.
Work starts at 8 a.m., but I wake up at 7:30.
Is work like you physically go into work?
No, so my work's virtual. So I get up from my bed and I go to my desk.
Okay.
I've been meditating for about a month. I use an app. It's called Medito. It's awesome. You should definitely look at it.
Is it free?
It's free. Everything is free on it. I mean, I've been doing it for a month. I have not ran out of options. There are so many options. I've meditated sometimes twice in a day because it's anyone that's watching, if you want to get into meditating.
This is not a brand, yeah.
This is not a brand deal, but it's awesome.
Medito.
I didn't exactly get the best habit around it. When reading Atomic Habits, you look for how to make it easy, how to make it comfortable and satisfying. And there's all these checklists that you got to get. I never really found that with meditating the first go around.
Anybody does.
No, of course. And it's definitely a process of frustration and taking the time out. This time I was like, all right, let's get a process. Let's figure out how to do this.
And is it just like basic guided meditation?
It focuses a lot on breathing. And I don't know about you, but when I meditate, I focus on where you find the breath.
Right.
I'm very keen on focusing on how I breathe in and breathe out through my nose. For most of the times where I meditate, you focus so heavy and you end up turning your brain off. One of the most surreal feelings that you'll ever feel.
It's a different type of dopamine. It's not even dopamine. It's like, yeah.
It is a crazy feeling.
So only guided, which I'm not judging you.
Yeah.
Like self-meditating.
I've listened to only sounds. So like, rain in the background. I've done that occasionally. I've definitely thought about other sources of meditation. I love, doing different things. So I definitely try self-meditation.
What I would be really excited for is when, I do find a partner. Partner meditation, I've heard, is very healthy for taking both of you guys' time to like both be so present, whether it's like you're there for your own mind and you're not really worrying about, your girlfriend's mind or anything. It's just like both self-meditation, like the boyfriend like speaking and like guiding through the girlfriend through it, or vice versa.
I don't know if I could keep a straight face for that one. I'm not going to lie.
I think if you take the mindset of like, hey babe, I'm helping you out. Like we're in this together.
Totally. And if I could turn that on, that'd be great. But I lock my door when I meditate. Like I need like no distractions. And there's some people that meditate in the park.
I meditate in my car.
Really?
What I'm catching at throughout this whole conversation. First off, if you guys are watching to this point, Alex appreciates it.
We appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much. So let me ask this first. Are you, if you don't mind me asking, what is your religion?
So I'm Jewish.
Okay.
More along the lines of like, I appreciate the culture. The best thing about being Jewish was the family holidays, and we'd get our whole family and we'd have dinner. And that's something that I want for my kids and I want for my family. And, I love that. But as far as, the actual, like, personally, I don't believe in God. If anybody does, I think it's great. You got to do what works for you. It's just never connected with me. But I love being Jewish, and it's always been kind of something different about me, so.
The only reason why I asked that, I think everybody goes through a time, I believe in God, or even a higher power, like, tells you and gives you telltale signs. There's a difference between, like, diligently working on yourself, like, or just working on yourself, but you're just not dating anybody. How has keeping yourself accountable, my field, and I guess what you're doing, you have to be self-diligent. How do you give yourself self-motivation? And like, nobody's gonna help me out except myself sometimes.
Yeah, and I definitely feel that way about I gotta do this. This is my journey, this is my work, this is my results.
Do you ever get scared?
No.
No?
I think I used to be scared of what's to come and, be anxious about what the future holds, but I've gotten so comfortable with who I am and what I can do where I'm not really afraid of like anything that kind of comes my way. And I'm more excited for the challenge. And whenever, like I was saying, like whenever something bad happens, if I look 3 months later, there's so much improvement. So as much as I don't wish for, bad things to come my way, which of course no one should, but I try not to freak out because I'm like, all right, how can we turn this around? Right. Okay. But as far as your first question, just to kind of relate what I'm going to tell the story by, I was talking about how I journal occasionally. And my first time I ever wrote anything in my notes for this purpose was May 18th. And I know that because like it has that as the title. Right. So the first journal entry was, I read it occasionally, but it was basically, I feel like I'm plateauing. I feel like I'm in a state where I haven't gotten better in a while, and as far as self-improvement, and I got to figure something out. Right. And that's kind of when, I started figuring out what habits to start, and that's when I started my diet. And there's different things that I started, but it all comes from that feeling of neutrality and feeling like I'm just not moving. And so your question was, what motivates you? What pushes you? Just the feeling of being average. Ever want to feel average and settles for that should push.
Whenever I have these guests, I learn, like even with this, I'm learning so much. But I feel like now, like where I'm at right now, I've been like nothing's rolling. Like nothing's really like, working and like evolving in my expectations. Like how I think they should be going. What are some things, obviously you get scared by like the feeling of like being average and like being like the regulars in the crowd. How do you try and get out of that funk?
It kind of goes back to research.
A long time, it's been going on for a long time. It's like, when am I going to catch my break? Like, when am I going to start seeing it? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. When I was at one of my lowest points, it was stop being comfortable, stop being average. If you're feeling like you're having a plateau, you're probably comfortable. You've been doing the same workouts, change it. Figuring out how you can take the next step. If you're feeling like you're plateauing in YouTube, go find 10 people and see how they went from 3,000 to 10,000. Was it one video? Was it being consistent? Was it daily upload? Like there's so many questions that I'm sure that you've researched, but if you're in this feeling of where do I go from here, put your head down, research, and it change is so inevitable, and it's going to happen.
You gave me that validation because naturally that's what I did. Is like I'm changing a lot of things. So I guess I just need to trust it.
Like you said, your workout is from 2 weeks ago. This is my results of 2 weeks ago. It might not be 2 weeks. It might be a year. You have to be so comfortable and so confident in yourself that you know that no matter what you do, if you're working your ass off and you're putting in the time, you're gonna succeed. And that's just being comfortable with yourself. So that's another piece of advice is don't be comfortable with what you're doing, but be confident in who you are.
Can you say that again for the people listening and watching?
Don't be comfortable with what you're doing. Be confident with who you are.
Amen to that. I needed that, man. Let's talk about relationships. Not even just, women, business partners, and working with people and companies. How do you approach? Because my approach with, regardless if they want to be friends with me or not, is with anybody. Once I, get past the like, all right, this is a deep level friendship, is I don't play for advantage and like using you. I play for, like we were talking about earlier, is like the long ball. Like consistent communication and understanding like how can we both help each other out regardless of like the fields. If I'm not into your field, I still want to help you out, and I still want to make sure that like even one thing that I value out of anything, two things: one, loyalty, and second is accountability.
Got it.
What are some things that you value in your friendships and relationships?
I'm big on mindset. It's really tough for me to be close to somebody, hang out with anybody that doesn't want to be better every single day. I'm totally good with having fun with somebody, hanging out, but if you're going to be somebody true to my heart, truly that I know that you're one of my friends, it doesn't have to be the same mindset, but it's got to be at least that drive that you're not sitting on your ass doing nothing. It's very consistent, whether it's a girlfriend or a friend. I look for that, and I just don't think I get too like annoyed and fed up, and honestly try to sometimes change people to get that drive, which I've learned and I've seen friends learn, and it is one of the best lessons I learned is that you cannot change anybody. And you'll never be able to change anybody for how you want them to change. It's only going to create fights. It's only going to think that they're one way and they're really not that way.
Yeah.
That's totally fine. Sometimes it's about learning to accept that this is who they are and they're not exactly who you thought they were. And I'm not throwing shade at anybody. I just think it's the way of life, and some people are built different.
I think it all goes to like maturity, even in relation, like if you're dating somebody. If you understand that, hey, you're not on the same maturity level, or even like on a friendship level, accept that and say, hey, I can't have some conversations with you because you just can't, you're not getting the memo. Like if you really try and push people to a certain level, like, come on, bro, like get to me. Like it really shows that it's got to come from within.
And it's frustrating for both parties.
Yes, because then they think like, why is he doing, like, why are they trying to manipulate me? And then they feel in a way like disrespected, which is not, it shouldn't be the case. It should
You only want the best for the other person, but sometimes that's just not how they're built. Like they're different, which is okay.
Yeah. They're
gonna live their life, but we're gonna live ours.
I think relationships should be natural, because before us sitting and us being friends and being really close with each other, we were complete strangers. You lived in West Palm Beach, and I lived here. Yep. But we both have the same intent with our life, our expectation for ourselves. We can understand each other and understand our journey together, taking the time, improve on ourselves, and value all that work that we used to put in. So another thing of not letting some people sit at your table, it comes from accepting people for who they are. It reflects of how much self-respect you have for yourself.
Totally.
And
there's sometimes hard decisions that you might want something and you might want to be friends with that person because they're fun, but there's only so much friendship that can get that you can have because you are so different at that mindset level.
Right. Outside of, for a woman, if you take away the sex and you take away those pleasures, what does the girl value? I think the number one attribute, like you were saying, is mindset. Obviously looks play a part, but if the mindset is not on 10, and if the mindset doesn't resonate with me or with you, like...
I think the most important thing in a relationship is herself. And does she, what does she care about? She needs to care about herself the most. And that's not in a selfish aspect. That's in a, how can she be the best person she can be? Well, simultaneously, I'm being the best person I can be. And just the way things work, we're going to be the best of both worlds, That I just look for, self-respect, self-motivation. And there's times where it's like, wow, I'm not going to find somebody. Not everybody has those traits, but it's, once again, being confident in yourself, being comfortable with seeing 10 years, being patient. Finding the right person is important because wasting time with the wrong person can not only put you in a plateau or a downtrend, but it can put them in that as well, and that's not fair to either party. So
a big one that I look for is how they treat others and how she treats herself. Most of all, back to saying self-respect and being confident within themselves is a big thing. Because if they don't take themselves seriously, why should I take this relationship seriously?
Totally. And I think this relates to all friends, whether it's a girlfriend or a best friend or a friend. That's kind of just the
narrative as a whole.
So I do have a question for you. And I think we should apply some background for everybody who's watching at this point. Me and Tim have never really sat down and
not at all.
Had a straight. This is the first time we've ever had a conversation like this. We're very similar in the way that we think, but most of our conversations are 100% bullshit
and childish. Yes,
and you would.
I think we need that balance, though.
We do, and we've had slight discussions where it's like, okay, we definitely could relate on this level, but it is cool to finally be able to have a real conversation. And after the podcast, we'll go back to,
for sure,
what we do.
Right.
But the question that I have is, what's your 5-year plan? What's your end destination? Like, what do you want to do? Is it the YouTube journey? Is there something past YouTube?
Kind of answer the question during the podcast is when you get scared about the future and you get scared and intimidated by, the outcome. I don't think about what I'll look like in 5 years. Put in place the habits, and I want to put in place what lifestyle I need to, so that way in 5 years it's not even it's second nature. It ruins the journey from now until 2027. It takes away from the everything's in between. Because if I focused on that part of life in 5 years and where I'll be, subscriber count and whatever I'm doing, whatever field I'm in, if I look at that every day for the next 5 years, then it's going to apply a lot of stress and it's going to take away out of great moments if I continue to like look for the future. And if I continue to look at the past, that's the same thing. So right here on this couch and conversation is where I'm at right now.
Okay, that makes sense.
You were looking for something different.
I want to pry a little bit more out of you. As far as the question goes, we'll talk about the rest later. Is there any goal that we can look back in a couple of years and be like,
I think it's community, if anything. I need to see the people. If I'm honing in and resonating with people, I think I'm affecting their lives and they can help me out. So I think hopefully in 5 years, I will have a very loyal community that I can be proud of.
That are looking back and watching these podcasts.
Exactly.
I could care less about that. I see that you're posting consistently and doing different stuff and doing stuff that I really haven't seen on YouTube. And it's cool to see, your friend and a good friend do that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. I did have a follow-up question with that, but you didn't give me a biggest inspiration. If I were in your shoes, if I was on the YouTube grind, my biggest inspiration would be Mr. Beast. Not because he's the biggest name, but because he was genuinely at a part where you're at in the fact that he was at 1,000 subscribers and he showed how many subscribers he had 10 years ago to the day. And it was like 22.
They know their people, they know their audience, they know how to resonate with them. Everybody's done everything, but you're unique if you take your style. Everybody is like plagiarizing. Everybody is plagiarizing and taking verbatim some of the things, but they add their own little spice, their own unique brand of magic into their content. It's confusing sometimes when there's big creators that have heavy numbers behind them, but there's not a lot of like value in their content. There's there's value in everything, but is it like cancerous value? Like is it value in the wrong way? I'm a guy that I believe like a lot of the stuff that are in my videos and like how it's organic, and it's like if you were to meet me in real life, like that's how I am in my videos. But there's some of these guys that like they have the hundreds of thousands of views and like people praise and believe them because
they got to put on a front.
I think in that stance it can get frustrating, and that's why I say like, are like the influence and are the thoughts your thoughts or are they other people's? Because everybody, the number one most sought out job in the world right now is like being a creator, being a content creator and a YouTuber.
While you were talking, I was thinking about that. What exactly is your style? Like what do you there's pranksters and there's vloggers and there's what category would you put yourself?
I think a vlogger, lifestyle.
And where do you want to go with it in the future? Like, is there anything that you want to change? Like, is there things you would try? Is there things that you don't want to try?
The more money behind it, the more views and like people respect, like, dang, like they're obviously not saying the money behind the things, but like, how are they getting some of this stuff in the videos? Like, there's gotta be a lot of money. Okay, I'll throw a like or I'll subscribe because if they take themselves seriously and they take the video idea seriously, then views and stuff will get behind it. YouTube pay isn't, the best sometimes. So like all the money, like, there's this thing, Mr. Beast puts millions of dollars into his videos, but the revenue back just does not equate. Loss on your investment sometimes. So I found I can still be like authentic whenever I pay money to go on trips and stuff for videos, and whenever I put like quite a bit of money into it, like it usually does really well.
That's interesting.
Doing no money and just flipping the camera and talking to people, I can get some people, and I know my core people can watch, but when I go make a trip to Miami or I go to New Jersey, or if I go and put money into these things,
people see the effort. I could be wrong, but I think it's not exactly always monetary. It might be the respect. Yeah.
Actually interacting with the numbers of subscribers as well. Giving back to community, showing that like, hey, you guys are watching through a screen, but I'm a real person. I want to get some of these imaginary numbers and imaginary people in the videos and say like, hey, thank you guys for supporting me from afar. Let me get you in this. Yeah, I'll always be big on community. Let me ask you this question. What's your 5-year plan?
I definitely think we'll be friends. I think the mindset will carry on throughout it. I don't think that kind of wavers. As far as a 5-year plan, first, graduate college. Then I think I'm going to leave that to see in 5 years. I have a plan, but I'd rather...
Yeah, keep it with yourself.
Keep it with myself.
Because once you share it to people,
The second you share a goal or... you tell people that you're working out or you talk about what you're doing, it sends off serotonin in your brain and it turns it into something that it's not, and it turns your motivation into chasing that serotonin instead of chasing the dream. And I want to chase my dream, and in 5 years we'll watch the podcast.
You'd be proud, and you do it for Alex Shnider.
Correct.
Not for the people that are watching. For how public my life is, I don't really do that either. I would love to sometimes to just drop all of this and just live that life. Like, honestly, if I wasn't doing this field, I would not be on social media. I would not be, the only way you can contact me is if you have my phone number. That's the life that I would live, seriously.
And I see that from you, but that's what I was saying before is it's part of your job, but you're not posting these pictures and TikToks and all this stuff to gloat and be like, oh, look what I did, I'm cool. It's look what we did, look what at our community, look at what we're doing. Like it's a much more humble approach, and there's different people that post that they're at the gym and it's just not something that I've ever been fond of, and I like to keep my stuff private. When you asked if I could be on the podcast, I was thinking to myself, and I actually am hoping that I didn't do this, is share too much in the way that it sounds like a brag. The only reason people brag is for acceptance. Validation. And between me and you, we like it's that self-confidence, it's that self-respect that there is no need for others' validation, which is why it's self-motivation.
Right.
So I don't always love sharing, and I know my question was set up for you to share, but I think that it's good to share some things, and it's not good to share others. So
if you do share it, you're more prone to not actually do it.
Talk the talk or walk the walk,
Exactly. Yep. Talk right now. That camera is yourself 5 years from now.
Okay. 5 years from now.
Hey, Alex Shnider.
Don't screw up. That's it. don't fuck it up. Like, do your thing. And 5 years I'll say the same shit. Yeah. Don't fuck up.
I mean, I wish it was that easy, but life loves to toss you, turn you, and season you up.
Probably going to lose a lot of money. I hope Bitcoin's doing well in 5 years. That's something that better happen. We'll see. Worry about the future if you're worrying about now. So
thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your words and your value and spitting real talk to all these people. Peoples of Alex, be sure to go ahead. Tell them I need to hear that out of you. Go ahead. Let me hear the inner YouTuber in you.
All right, guys. I want you to subscribe. Give me a like. Give us a like. And listen, if the post noties aren't on, we got some issues. So if do it for Tim, do it for me. Let's get it going.
There we go.
Let's get this boy to 10K.
Oh man,
we got to get it. We're getting.
I need to shave. I need to get this hair off.
He needs to cut the hair. So
yeah.
I was giving him some shit before, so
yeah,
it's gonna get too long. Come on, guys.
Oh, so you like short hair, Tim, a little bit?
But we gotta work on 10K and get there, and then we'll see.
Dude, you're saying it's bad. I understand it. Thank you guys so much for watching Real Talk with Tim Hofacker featuring Alex Shnider. Again, thank you so much.
Of course.
And if you guys are peoples of Alex, be sure to subscribe. Post notifications are and always should be on at all times. Go ahead and comment down below anything that you've valued out of this one, anything that Alex have said, anything that I have said. Be sure, go ahead and talk to us down below. If you guys want to connect with Alex, anything that we've said on today's episode, and you guys want to talk furthermore with him,
don't hit me up. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I was about to say, he's more than welcome. You are more than welcome.
More than welcome, of course.
Or if you want to connect with him on the business side, as he's a businessman, Mr. Shnider, all of his stuff, go follow him. It's all down below. Go follow Real Talk on Instagram, and be sure to subscribe. You can follow me at Tim Hofacker on literally any platform. If you look up Tim, I'm usually the first one. So thank you guys so much for watching to this point. Real Talk with Tim Hofacker featuring Alex Shnider. Thank you so much, guys, for watching to this point. And I'll see you guys next Sunday at noon. Peace.